So many people want to say save 15%
Oh, he's on
into your retirement.
Yeah, he's.
I've got a whole thing here. I'm like the chief investigator of Jazz Wealth Managers.
Love it.
So I want to figure this out. I want to say, is 15% really enough? Now, it's going to depend on the age, but check this out. I mean, this is one of the screenshots right here of this. I mean, 93% probability of success, 95%, at 15%. So let's dive in.
Well, and I'll add one thing to it. If you are between, say, 26 and 32, you could probably stretch it to 33, 34, but stick with me. Eric's going to show you something, and then I will come around and have something additional to add.
All right.
That will it'd be real simple, but blow you away. Even maybe blow away Eric. He doesn't know what it's going to be.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So who are the people who say 15%? Well, the notorious one, Dave Ramsey.
Oh, yeah.
15%. Now, it's a set thing then with Dave.
Is he's 15%?
Yeah, 15.
Okay.
15% die hard on it too. Like there's nothing else. Now, that's okay though. I mean, I understand where he's coming from. He's coming from a good place.
Okay, but is that good place? Is there a video or some data or something that he's been like, okay, the reason we come up with 15% is because something?
I think that's the biggest problem. He has kind of just his general rules, and we've always talked about it's not a one-size-fits-all for investors.
He's pretty good about it.
He's got the general rules, though, that he kind of puts in play to make it simple for somebody just to stick with it and do it versus saying, well, if you're this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this.
Yep.
It is tough. But then you've got, Schwab. Schwab hits the nail on the head pretty good here. They talk about if you're saving in your 20s, 10 to 15, 30s, 15 to 20. There's a lot of variables when it comes to it.
Oh, God, yeah. Yep.
You've got, who else?
Well, it's maybe a shameless plug real quick. So how do you know? Like, are we going to wrap this up by telling somebody this is how much you have to save? Well, we do that for every client. So that's like a given for us. Everybody that comes through the door, we do that initial plan. You don't have to guess. We're going to tell you exactly what it is, help you out from there. Some people say, this is good for now, I'll catch up with you later. Some people say, let's go further. But that initial plan, whoever you're working with, whatever software, advisor, anything, someone's got to make that initial plan. It's huge.
Yeah, somebody's got to be telling you. And so T-Row here, they're actually at 15%, but it's actually to start less and then work your way towards 15%.
Oh, I like
cool,
that too.
Cool concept.
Okay.
Fidelity really hits the nail on the head with this too.
Geez, you went over everything. You went to everybody.
I wanted to look at all of them and really say, who's saying what with this 15%. Fidelity talks about an age 25 to 67, and that's what I'm going to use as a model. And I'm actually going to show if you are, depending on what age you are. Now, there are so many factors that come into play with this.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. People want to say, well, save 15%. But if you're just saving and you're not investing, there's the problem of that. Investment allocation, are you doing it into all Roth? Or are you doing it in pre-tax money? What else? We've got, when do you want to retire? I mean, if you want to retire at 55, maybe it's different when you start at 25. There's just also one of the biggest ones I think that is out there that is not talked about as much when it comes to the planning. People are starting to realize it though and catch on, and that's the location.
Asset location, man. That's something I was just going to say that so inevitably we do the initial plan for people, and it's not software driven, like we type it all out and stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll put down for you specifically, like, what do you do? And inevitably the next question's like, cool, I can do that, or I'm already doing that, but where do those dollars go? Like, what do they get invested in? That's part of the secret sauce there.
Yep, without a doubt. And so CNBC has some data right here that actually says how much you would have saved by age, and that's the median.
Wait, you're like Doug at our meetings, man. You got slides and stuff?
Doug has all kinds of slides in the meetings.
We have a meeting every week with everybody, and Doug shows up with the whole presentation. I'm like, wow, we are just horrible people.
Yeah, I save it. I save it for our Friday.
Yeah, looks right.
Friday chat. So check this out though. If you're 25 or under, the median has only saved $1.8 thousand. 25 to 34, 14.1 thousand.
I'd have guessed a little bit more actually.
35 to 44, the median 36,000.
Oh.
45 to 54, 61. Then 55, 64, 89, 7, 65 plus 87. Now this is median.
Okay, but now would you say that the median group or people are on track? Would you say that's on track or behind? It feels behind.
I definitely think it's behind. I mean, you're looking at the averages here are way higher.
Okay.
But the idea of this with what I built out was I actually used the median. Because I said, hey, what about the people who are either near retirement who maybe feel like they haven't saved enough?
Yep.
Or the people who are just starting who feel like, how much do I need to save? I don't have any saved yet.
By
let's
the
really look at this.
To interrupt for a second, that's got to be one of my favorite clients to work with. Now, the retirees are awesome because I love the numbers. That always gets me. But maybe close second, is that 40-something where the switch has gone off. And they're like, holy cow, I saw the CNBC thing or whatever, and I'm not even at that number. I love strategizing with those people because they almost feel like there's not a way. And to be able to show that there is a way, that to me is the coolest.
Yep. And so what I did was I modeled it out instead of saying, so in all of these scenarios here, one of the big things too is they're located in New York.
So good one.
New York, state tax.
That's not
that's going to kind of weigh on the plan. Yep. Now, when it comes to everything that I'm looking at, though, healthcare is actually lumped into their retirement expense.
Okay.
When you're talking retirement expense, a lot of different people out there are saying when you retire, 80% of your current salary is what you're going to retire on. That's a good target number there.
Yep.
So I lumped that in with the actual cost there because once you retire, you get rid of the kids. Hopefully by that point, you're not having to pay for that. You're also not contributing to retirement, which is oftentimes a really big chunk of the salary of where it is going.
Yep.
Fuel prices hopefully will come down or cost there because you're not commuting to work, whatever the case is.
Well, let me stop on that. That's a good point because when people say, I make 80,000, or as a family we make 100, whatever it is, and then they tell me they want to live on 100,000. I've never thought to say it that way, where you don't actually live on 100,000 right now. If you're saving 10% of your income, well, there you go. Now you're down to 90. Most people saving maybe a little more. So that's a great way to look at it. You don't need 100% of your income.
Yeah.
Interesting. I learned something today.
Yeah.
And I'm not just making that up. That's
you learning.
Yeah.
We always teach each other stuff. So the idea with it is really to figure out just the basics. So to start with the basics, I want to start with a 25-year-old who has $1.8 thousand saved. That's the median. Now from there, one of the biggest drivers of this plan is their investment allocation and their savings rate. So if they are to put, if they want to retire at 67, just like the Fidelity article said, they want to put away 15%. Now what I did was I modeled 10% contribution to a 401k, 5% match. So that's all pre-tax money going into this thing.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at. An average income is $70,000 right now. Now this is all built out, so it's going to increase with inflation, which also their savings rate will increase with inflation just to offset that. But if we're looking in today's dollars, basically they'd be retiring on about $4,667 as an expense.
Okay.
In monthly expense dollars.
With a 15% savings rate total net?
Yep.
Okay.
And looking at this right here, if you look, 95% probability of success if you're doing it at 25 years old.
Yep.
You're projected to have, $2 million, almost $3 million there. Now, here is the crazy thing though. You still have a high probability of success if you were to scale back to doing moderate. This is doing aggressive. If you're going moderate, so aggressive is more of that 90% stocks, 10% bonds, maybe even closer to 100% stocks. You want to go over here to 93% probability of success, 1.14 million. It's a moderate, so more of a a 60-40 allocation there that we're looking at. So that's the interesting thing to say with this, because I think that's always left out because it's so simple just to say we'll save this amount.
Yep.
But this is just a 25-year-old. I've got this for a 30, a 40, and even a 50.
Well, so you're hitting on a key point there. So number one is how much do you invest?
Yeah.
Number two, which accounts do they go in? And then my approach, I think, is to say, now that the money's in those accounts, how slow can you invest it in order to hit the goal? You can always go more aggressive, right? Investing is not a linear curve. You can't take more risk and get more return. So how slow can you go? Then from there, bump it up. But that's a cool combination there. I like that.
Yeah. And so same concept here with this scenario. We're going moderate current allocation. Now, this person is 30 years old. So they've saved a bit more here based on the median growth or the median saved rate. So if they've saved a little bit more, I believe it's for them it was 14.1 thousand
based
already
on
saved.
CNBC's number.
Yep, that's the median there. So still for a 30-year-old, you're in a great spot. If you're retiring at 67, I know a lot of people that are retiring at 60 though. 67,
it's popular.
It's 67's out there.
Really popular right now is like the 55 to 60 crowd, and then but hey, I'm going to go work part time.
Yeah.
My favorite is to say I'm going to go work part time renting jet skis, because a guy told me that years ago, and I was like, well, duh. Yeah, he's going to have fun doing this, and he's just outdoors. That's what he wanted to do.
Yep.
Duh.
Yeah, I got jet skis. I like my jet skis. Live at the water. It's fun. So So they're used though. I do the rich people hand-me-downs. I always buy barely used on anything I buy.
Oh, yeah, that's the way to go.
That's what I call the rich people hand-me-downs. I was the little brother in the house, so I always got hand-me-downs.
So it's new to you. You're good. Doesn't matter.
So we're looking here, 91% probability of success, 84 if you're going moderate. I'm a little, hey, you gotta realize how much of a difference this is gonna make for that 30-year-old. But now let's really take a look at this though, because if we jump over here, this is the big one. So once you hit 40, if you're at 40 years old, you've saved 36.1 thousand is the median. So this is a lot of people that we do see.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people who, just what you say, they hit that 40 and they're just like, oh my goodness. I've started to put a little bit back, but I just had a call with a client the other day, just becoming a client, and they had not really taken advantage of the 401k match. Ooh. And I'm like, wow. And they're like, yeah, I've been working for 15 years. And I'm like, wow. And so just that alone, I mean, this shows there's still hope, even if you possibly kind of played around a bit or made the mistake or whatever the case is, there's still hope.
All else being equal there. What you're saying is the savings rate's the same, the match is the same, the income's the same, all that's the same, but now you're 40.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so you're at 73% probability of success. You're going to have $731,000 remaining if you're aggressive. You have to be more aggressive if you're just starting at 40 and you want to retire at 67 and only do the 15% savings rate.
A tough time to say that, but you do, right? You got stocks and bonds just getting crushed, but you got to do it.
Yep. And so if you go back though moderate, I mean, you're not going to make it. Like you can't go 60-40 on this and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to know that I can meet my retirement goals.
Well, and what that's showing is like, could you make it? Yes. But one or two little things that go wrong and all of a sudden you're falling off the chart.
Yeah.
So you need like market perfection. You need perfection in your life. Yeah, probably not going to happen.
Yeah, as a planner, I mean, we're looking at this and the probability of success is really coming from a Monte Carlo, 1,000 scenarios ran the ups and downs of the market versus if I throw this in a cash flow analysis where everything literally goes, let's say you get 6%, linear fashion every year, that's different. That's going to look a lot better. The fact is that that's not the way the market works, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah, nailed it there.
So check this out, though. So what if instead the 40-year-old who was doing one thing, they put it all in the Roth and the 5% match was actually, going to be pre-tax. That's how it always has to work on the match. But the 10% they're contributing is going to the Roth 401k.
Okay. Same income?
Changes everything. Same model of everything else except for now Roth versus pre-tax. 81%, they've almost got $1 million remaining at the end of the plan. And even on the far side, if they're going moderate, a little more conservative, there's still a lot more probability of success.
Difference though. Look, I mean, that's the cool thing I like to see is that
getting excited.
Oh, I love that, man. It's like one little change. That's a simple one, but one little change and you go, well, wait a minute. That's like when you talk to your accountant and you're like, give me something. One little something, and all of a sudden you got more money.
Yep.
You didn't have to put more money away. You just did one little thing different. I love that. That gets me going there, right?
That's it.
That's what you got?
No. Right. So no, I got one right here. So let's see what we got. So you hit 50 though. What are you going to do?
Ooh.
There's what we got.
Yeah.
At 50 years old, now your savings at 50, you've already got 61,500 already saved.
They're in trouble.
But this is what you got if you're trying to do 15%. It's not going to work, period. And that's where I've actually seen some people and try to talk through that. So I wanted to look at this and say, okay, if you're 50, what do you need to do to actually meet the goals that you've got? So based on this, now again, you have to be aggressive with everything you're doing.
Oh yeah.
But if you are aggressive and you only have 61,500 saved and you're 50 years old and you want to retire, like you're dead set on 67 being it, if that's the case, now all of this incorporates Social Security, projected Social Security as well. So if that's the case, you need to save, on this scenario, 30%, so 25% yourself into your 401k, and then the employer will match the 5% there. And that will put you at a point where if you're aggressive, you're good. If you're not aggressive, you still got to be careful. Though this is the cool one where we get with clients that are in these scenarios, they're retiring and maybe they don't have $2 million. Maybe they've got 500,000.
Yep.
And we talk about, the go-go and the slow-go years, really going a little bit, maybe living on this amount. But then, hey, you know what? At 80 years old, I don't know of many people that are spending like they did at 60 years old.
Yep, that's a huge problem with most planning software is you say, I'm going to spend this much a year, and it just assumes with inflation that you're going to spend that every year. I can tell you from true experience that is not the case, right? With all our retirees, we're from Florida, right? So a lot of our clients are retired. You're not spending. You have some good years in there, but boy, you dial it back pretty quick.
Yep, yeah, that's it. So yeah, this is the total breakdown. I know you had something really good you wanted to throw in too, so I want to hear this.
I'm going to make it simple. Have you noticed?
Okay.
And now I'm talking to I'll even go, the younger you go, the easier, but I want to stick with like right on that fine line, maybe say like 26, 27, but up to like 32. If you're in that camp, the switch is starting to go off, first job, you got the 401k and all that. Have you noticed, we do a plan for everybody, so I've literally done thousands of these. If you are, let's just say it this way. If you're married and you are saying we make X together and we would like to retire, we don't know the number, we want to retire with 75% of our income, which is funny that you hit on 80% a minute ago, but let's say you want to retire with 75% of your income and you're wondering how much to save. Do you know what percentage it is? Like after going through all of that, we did so many of these plans that me and Cody even just sort of joked about it. It's 11.9%. If you tell somebody, like you can't say guarantee a lot, but you have to, if you have at least 10,000 saved, which is what most people end up saying anyways,
right.
You're married and you say, whatever your income is, I just want 75% of it, 11.9% of your income.
What age?
That's from like 27 to 32, right in there. That's it. And so we just kept coming across that. So I went down this wormhole and like, well, what happens if they're 25? What happens if they're 35? Whatever. It starts getting a little crazy. So if you just want a general rule to replace 75% of your income, if you saved at least 10,000 already, right in that ballpark, it's 11.9%.
Yeah, and I think the thing to note on that too is married.
Yeah.
So 2 Social Security incomes.
Yep.
This I did all of this as a single person, only one Social Security
in New York.
income. In New York as well.
Yeah.
I really wanted to model that, but the idea is if you're married, 2 Social Security incomes, but you do have to plan for if something happens to one of you. There's that really comes into play. That's not a plug for life insurance. You know I'm not a fan of that whole life.
Well, that's the tough part. So like all of this has to be taken as like, okay, this is a starting point. Starts the conversation. Naturally, we're here, we're marketing, we're teaching and stuff. You know what we're doing. But it has to be a starting point for you. You can't take that and say, well, that's me. 11.9%, I'm going to be fine. Yes, we accounted for inflation. We accounted for replacing 75% of your income. And at that point, $16,000 a year in Social Security, because that's what it was. But you definitely have something different going on in your life, just hands down. You could have 4 kids for all we know.
Yep.
Different goals, different ideas.
Without a doubt. So with that, another video done.
I didn't even notice.
2 drops in there. That was all that was left on that one. Always finishing the cup of coffee. But if you don't have anything, I think we need to make sure we tell everybody to like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Let us know what you want us to talk about on this, because this is one that we really like to, and I love to dive into things and like investigate. Like,
I see that.
You tell me something like you tell me like, oh, this is how it's going to be. Good. I'm going to look into that and see if that's really factual.
Well, that's the same energy that I had By the way, I did a video almost exactly 4 years ago where I said, you want to know how much exactly to save? And I went through an example and said, this person's 30 or whatever, married. I went through the income. It was 11.9%. And I was kind of explaining how that was. Don't make fun of me. I put on a few pounds, lost a little hair, but that was me. Old school with the whiteboard. Did the trick there. But you heard it right from Mr. Eric here. If you would hit the subscribe button, let us know what you like hearing about, the geeky things that we can talk about. Otherwise, I hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. And anything else?
No, that's it.